Recently, our class took a trip to Washington, D.C., and we toured the Health and Medicine Museum. I read the statistic there that in the Civil War, 600,000 people suffered from wounds or illnesses that required medical attention, and I viewed a chart that went with that statistic and asked myself, why did our military fight in past wars if national and military leaders knew there were diseases and injuries soldiers were susceptible to that did not yet have a cure? To answer this question, I had to ask myself first, what structures were people operating under that may have led them to this behavior? For one, military and government officials felt the need to protect our nation and figured fighting against those who were threats to us was the best way to do so. Doctors researching this issue were also structured back then because there was a lack of medical technology. For one, when soldiers were exposed to poison gas in World War I, they would take a horse-drawn carriage or boat to an aid station. They were typically asked to vomit to expel gas from their system and sleep. There were ways to treat this condition, however, soldiers typically didn't heal properly. Another question I considered was, how much agency did the people involved in this situation have? Well, military leaders and the government did have the agency to decide whether the nation should go to war. However, lower-ranked soldiers didn't have much of a choice. Vaccinations, cures for diseases, and safe procedures for injuries were also being developed, so there were still many illnesses soldiers could catch and possibly die from. The influenza pandemic of 1918 was one that spread worldwide. According to the Health and Medicine Museum, more American World War I servicemen died of influenza and secondary respiratory infections than died in combat. I believe this is because soldiers were forced to live in close quarters, allowing disease to spread more quickly. So, should we break down the empathy wall in this scenario? I honestly think we can, because soldiers were fighting for the safety of our nation, and doctors were constantly in the process of developing new medical technology and cures for diseases. Since the Civil War, there have been major technological advancements in reconstruction, rehabilitation, repair, protection, and response. During the recent Iraqi war, too, combat medics, surgeons, physicians, and nurses saved many soldiers' lives with these technological advancements. In fact, 98% of Americans wounded and treated at Balad lived. On the floor pictured too, it has been stated that more lives may have been saved there than on any other spot. In conclusion, though the military and doctors were under structures in wars from the past and did not have much agency due to the lack of medical technology, we should climb over the empathy wall, because these circumstances have led to modern medicine, cures for diseases, and surgical procedures that can be used on our military today so that they can fight for our nation.